Hey everyone, Cal Mike here from MLive.com, joined by Justin Rogers. We're at Soldier Field where the Lions have just won 20-14 against the Bears. It's the fourth win in a row. They're 11-4 on the season. And Justin, they had a playoff bid secured coming into this game, and they kind of played like it. That first half was ugly, especially offensively. You had a special teams botch from Jeremy Ross near the goal line that led to the Bears' only touchdown. It was 7-7. I mean, the Bears were supposed to be the team in dysfunction, and yet it was the Lions with costly penalties and bad passes and passes to receivers who weren't expecting it. What do you make of the way the Lions came out in this game against the Bears team that's now lost 7 out of 9?
I've been told a win is a win is a win. I mean, I guess maybe I'm supposed to believe that at this point, but no, I mean, it was ugly. A lot of their wins have been ugly this season. A road win in Chicago, I don't care if Jimmy Clausen has started, is never going to be easy. But you would have liked to have seen the Lions come in here with a little bit more authority and take care of business. I don't care that the playoff bid was secured. It doesn't mean anything. They were still playing for something very meaningful. 1 in a division title, 2 in a first-round bye. I mean, there's nothing more valuable in the playoffs than home field. So if you can't get up emotionally and physically for that, then I don't know. I mean, you shouldn't be playing the game.
I agree, but at the same time, I think you have to be concerned a little bit about the way this team performed today, because the Bears are 5-10. They've lost 7 out of 9. You barely beat them, and there are tougher games that await Lambeau Field next week. Their playoff date 2 weeks from now. There are better teams, and this offense. Besides that 2-game outburst against Chicago and Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, this offense has been pedestrian at best. And today you saw 2 really costly turnovers from Matthew Stafford in the red zone. I mean, those are points coming straight off the board, and I think you do have to be kind of concerned. The thing I did like was Joyce Bell and Reggie Bush. They were outstanding today, the best rushing effort we've seen from the Lions this year. But we just need a more consistent, less mistake-filled performance from the offense. It's just one week after another, just more problems for the offense.
Combined 185 yards from scrimmage from Bell and Bush, and that's something the Lions definitely needed. We've talked about that as the temperature drops, and they're going to be playing these cold weather games. Next week in Green Bay, potentially a road game at some point in the playoffs, whether it's Green Bay or Seattle or one of those places. You need to be able to move the ball on the ground, and they did that successfully today. They had something like 6 drives over 40 yards. There was offensive success that you look at and go, okay, the turnovers, and those were 2 terrible turnovers.
Yeah, especially the first one. He gave a little bit of credit to Mundy on the second one, but the first one, just throwing it into double coverage.
Jackpot.
Yeah. But you have to, I think, you'd be encouraged. The running game has been so suspect most of the year. Got those guys going. I thought it was good effort from Calvin Johnson. He's been kind of nicked up here and there, but really good effort from him. Over 100 yards receiving once again. No tight ends. I mean, I don't think we heard the name of a single tight end being targeted today. That's questionable.
It's weird.
It is weird. I mean, first round pick on Eric Ebron. You have Brandon Pettigrew out there. Kellen Davis isn't going to do anything in the passing game, but that's just a weapon you're taking off the field at that point. Better effort from the defense, though.
Yeah, the defense, it's the same it's been all year. It's 230 or so yards for the Bears. Again, it was Jimmy Clausen. He had his moments. They had a few long drives, but I feel this defense can compete with just about anybody anywhere, except for maybe the Patriots in New England. Against any team in the NFC North, I think they stack up favorably. It boils down to the offense being successful. I look at the offense, and I still look at the offensive line. I thought, the interceptions, the turnovers were threefold. Obviously, Stafford made really bad throws. I think the play calling in the red zone got a little conservative and forced him into bad situations in later downs. And there was pressure. There was a lot of pressure in that first half. They cleaned it up in the second half, and obviously, they put the necessary points on the board to win the contest in the second half. But the offensive line, I think, still continues to be the single biggest weakness on this team, and especially the interior of the offensive line.
On the defensive line, I really like what I saw from Ndamukong Suh again. The guy can play just a little bit of football. He's pretty okay. 2 more sacks today. He has 8.5 on the season. That's the best for him since his rookie year. And he's just wrecking people right now. He's just wrecking people, and I think you have to be really encouraged. He's shown no signs of wear and tear, even though he plays so many snaps for that defensive line. He's lost Nick Fairley next to him, and still his play continues to. He just continues to produce, and he was a terror today once again. And I think you have to be really encouraged by what you've seen from that defensive line, continuing to pressure the quarterback and make guys uncomfortable, which is what you have to do with an overmatched quarterback, with like Jimmy Clausen, and forcing him into mistakes like what you saw with the Glover Quinn pick late in the game.
That's four in a row for Quinn. 4 games in a row. He's leading the NFL. I don't know if there was another guy that maybe got 2 or 3 today that maybe passed him, but as far as I know, he's leading the NFL. Right. The one guy in defense I thought maybe kind of struggled today was Darius Slay.
Yeah,
he got beat a few times. Elshon Jeffrey ran very good routes, beat him. We expected some of these inconsistencies early in the season, and then he's played so well, we've forgotten that he's a second-year player, and we almost take it for granted. But there are still going to be times where he shows these growing pains, and I think today was one of those days. It'll be a good day in the classroom for him tomorrow to learn from these mistakes.
We talked offense, we've talked defense, we have to talk special teams. It was ugly. It was really ugly, starting with the Jeremy Ross muffed punt there near the goal line in the second quarter. I mean, you got less than a minute left. Bears are punting, and you muff that. That's the one thing you can't do is muff that punt, because the Bears get the ball one play later. They're scoring with 30 seconds to go, knotting that game up. That was a huge play, and that cost you against a better team. You had a blocked kick. I mean, it was just on and on and on. You had a roughing the punter penalty on 4th and 23. Bears scored a touchdown right after that. I mean, it was just one thing after another for the special teams. Not a good day for those guys.
I'm not a special teams coach. We like to criticize, and sometimes we don't fully understand. But I mentioned to you as that punt was going to Jeremy Ross, like, why would you even put a punt returner back there? I mean, yeah, worst case scenario, you get pinned at the 1 yard line, you have to run it out, but the odds of that are pretty astronomical. And maybe you get shafted with a safety in that situation. 7 points is a lot worse. It's windy conditions, always in Soldier Field. You just never know how those are going to play. The guy's fielded 65 punts this year. That was his first muff, but it came at such a terrible time. All 14 points the Bears scored today were results of special teams mistakes. You clean those up, the Bears don't get on the scoreboard today, and you're feeling a lot better about a 20-0 win or whatever it may be. You still have some problems with the offense or whatever, but you feel really good about a score where you shut out an opponent, as opposed to it being a nip and tuck battle here late into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and you consider what the offense did with the 2 red zone interceptions. They could have scored far more than 20. Could have given up 0 or 3 or 7 or somewhere in that range. They really should have beaten the Bears by more than what they did, but they beat the Bears at the end of the day, ugly as it might have been, and that's kind of been this team's calling card all year. This is definitely not a perfect team. This is not going to remind you of some Vince Lombardi coach team or something like that, but they get the job done time and time again. I think that's a calling card for this defense. They just hang around in every game, and eventually the offense does enough with its pieces to pull it out, and I think that's a good spot to be in going in down the stretch.
It's a calling card of the defense. It's a calling card of the coaching staff too. I've said that before, but Caldwell has these guys mentally prepared to overcome their mistakes. They're shooting themselves in the foot a lot each game. They're a good team. They're 11-4. There's you can't take that away from them. They've won so many close games like this, but if they just execute it, not even perfectly, but more consistently throughout the course of a game, you're talking about a team that's even better, maybe even in the argument of a Super Bowl contender. And right now it's they're looking like a team that could go out in the first round, maybe win a game in the playoffs, but nobody's really talking about them seriously as a Super Bowl contender because they haven't played many, if at all, complete games, and certainly none against a superior opponent outside of maybe the Green Bay in Week 3.
Yeah. Well, look, they are 11-4 with 1 game to go against the Packers. It's for the division title, huge game. I can't think of a regular season game that meant more to the Lions, particularly down the stretch. And if they win that game, you're talking about a bye. You're talking about home field advantage, and you bring a team into Ford Field in the second round of the playoffs. I'm telling you, anything can happen. That place is as intimidating as any place in the NFL. Maybe aside from Seattle, that place is pretty crazy too. But it's electric. That place, the roof comes off. You bring a team in there in the second round, and this team really can do something special.
I say nobody's talking about them Super Bowl contenders, but if they beat the Packers at Lambeau, have a home game and a bye, they're going to be in the conversation. Top 2, top 3 teams, maybe not, but in the conversation to represent the NFC, which is crazy.
Of course, that's a big if.
Well,
1991 is a year that rings to mind at this point.
0-23 at Lambeau will make that a big if.
It'll be a compelling game for sure, given what's at stake and that you have the matchup of the great offense against the great defense. We will be in Allen Park throughout the week. It's going to be a crazy week for us and for the team, and we'll both be in Green Bay next week, so make sure you keep it right here at MLive. For Justin Rogers, I'm Kyle Meinke. We are MLive. Keep it right here.